Welcome to Money Matters TV. My name is Paul Mitchell. I'm a commercial banker, and I'm your host this show. My co-host is James Chan. James is President, CEO, and founder of Asian Marketing Company. James,
how are you,
Paul? Good to see you again.
Good to see you, as always.
How are things going in the consulting world these days?
Not so bad. Not so bad. Could be worse.
Okay. Okay. You've been consulting for a couple of years now, I understand.
Well, I would say more than just a couple. I began in 1984.
Wow.
So I'm still doing it. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake. 1983.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I said 84 because my most important client began in 1984 and is still a client.
Excellent,
yeah.
Excellent. So when you say you're a consultant, you work for like a big New York consulting firm that has like about 150 consultants of various kinds, that type of thing, or?
Oh no, I'm the other end of the bell-shaped curve. I work for myself. I set up my own one-person consulting practice in 1983 after I had worked for a big Fortune 500 company. And I'm still doing it as a one-person solo consulting. I am very comfortable with it.
So how did you pick what to consult in? Why would anybody want to hire you?
Oh, that one is not difficult to answer. Well, when I worked for a big company, I kind of learned what I was doing and I saw money coming in. My expertise is to help American companies sell American-made, 100% American-made products and services to China,
American jobs,
and
American
Asia. And when I was with the big Fortune 500 publishing company, the name was Harcourt Brace Yovanovitch.
Sure.
I actually succeeded in getting our books and journals, very high level, very difficult, very esoteric, tomes, monographs in English, sold to China, and we got checks, hundreds of thousands of checks coming in. So that inspired me in the sense that I knew what I was doing. Otherwise, why should I be getting so much money coming in?
Yeah. What's your advice to other people that might consider consulting, especially by themselves? It sounds a little scary because, like you said, I mean, hundreds of thousands of checks, that's terrific, but a lot of people say, well, I don't even know where the first check's going to come from.
Absolutely. When I first set up my business, I was absolutely very apprehensive. I was scared, but I wasn't paralyzed because I wanted to do that. I succeeded in doing that. It's like a bird. Once you knew how to fly, you should tell yourself, yes, I can fly again. So for people who want to start, you know, conquer the fear. Actually, the fear is worse than it really can be. I started, and I remember when I first started, I sent out 300 letters to 300 CEOs in the country, and within 30 days, I got 3 paying clients. So within a short period of time, I knew what I had cooked up wasn't a pipe dream. It could be realized.
So what email software program did you use to replicate all these letters and get them out so quickly?
I didn't have, there was no email in 1983. I knew you were trying to be cute. Well, at that time, I had the Wang word processor. In fact, yes, the Wang word processor. The Wang is a word processor.
Sure. Mr. Dr.
You
Wang.
just have to type, you just have to type your form letter once,
Okay.
and then you shuffle hundreds of pieces of paper into the same slot, and then you get a lot of letters printed out. But I did have to sign each one myself personally.
And stamps? Lick the stamp?
I use a wet sponge.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to touch the glue. Good question, though. Very good technical question.
You know, the American entrepreneurial spirit is terrific. I mean, you're a good example of that.
Yes.
Another one I recently ran across, and we've all seen it around and stuff.
Yes.
It's a company called Pilot Flying J. Now, actually, that's a combination of 2 companies. Now, what did they do?
Pilot Flying J.
Actually, it was Pilot Company combined with Flying J.
Oh, okay.
And the origin of it was a gas station in 1958 in Tennessee.
Okay.
Now that's as basic as you can get.
Right.
And a lot of entrepreneurs in this country start off with a gas station.
Okay.
Maybe they worked at a gas station first and they leased a gas station.
I got it.
Then they bought the gas station, then they bought another one.
Okay.
I mean, we're not talking about the big oil companies here. We're talking about the guys down the street.
Yeah, it's like a hamburger stand.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. So this guy
Yeah.
and family
Uh-huh.
turned that gas station into a truck stop. Gasoline, diesel for the big trucks,
Okay. Yeah.
a little food, maybe a little
Yeah.
diner, a little
Yeah.
something or other.
I follow
And
you.
over the years, you've seen them on the highways now.
Okay.
You generally probably will drive by them. Huge,
Yes,
huge
yes,
parking
I've
lots.
seen- yes, I've
they
seen
don't look
those.
like gourmet restaurants.
No,
they
no,
don't even
they
look like
don't.
Howard Johnson's at all.
Correct.
But besides the little restaurant, they've got stuff that you can buy for the long haul trip. Might have even showers, even a little motel, and that type of thing. It's all aimed at truckers.
Okay.
And now this company now has almost 600 units around the country.
I didn't know that. Good for
And
them.
Warren Buffett, this was in the news recently,
Okay.
Warren Buffett, the big successful billionaire investor, has decided to buy almost 40% of the company
Right.
for, well, lots of money.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Now, my question to you is, why do you think he did that?
Well, he must have known something. He must have smelled blood, so to speak.
Well, actually, his explanation is very simple. He
Yeah.
thinks that more and more stuff is going to be ordered and delivered to people like you and me around the country, and trucks will be carrying more and more stuff, running more and more trips, be more and more trucks, more and more customers for this truck stop company. That's
Sounds simple.
pretty
sounds
basic.
simple.
That's my point.
But I wonder why other people than Warren Buffett never thought about it or had no deep conviction about it. Because in order to do anything well, you have to have conviction. You have to have that fire in the belly. I didn't know. Thank you for telling me that. I didn't know about it.
He's usually right. So it's an interesting concept. I mean,
Good
it's
for
an entrepreneurial company that's grown very big. The current owner, I think, owns one of the professional baseball teams or
Okay.
professional sports teams of
yeah,
some kind, that type of thing.
Well, we have another very entrepreneurial person this afternoon, so this can
That's
be
a good segue.
Right,
Absolutely,
yeah, right.
absolutely.
Well, good for telling me that story.
Well, good. Well, I just wanted, we're trying to talk about entrepreneurs and small
Yeah.
business activity in America, and it's very
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah.
But we have something else we have to talk about. We have a question from one of our viewers.
Oh, right now? Okay,
Yes,
fine.
and I think you're the person that should answer.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
So we have a question from Roger Tillman of Philadelphia,
Right.
and he asks, what are some ideas that will help to solve the trade imbalance between the U.S. and China?
Oh my God.
Since you're the Chinese consultant.
How much time do I have? 1 minute?
Maybe
1 year?
maybe
or
2.
One
Just a simple explanation. Like Warren
century.
Buffett explained his billion-dollar investment in a company. Boiled down to something pretty succinct.
I guess, I guess I have 2 ideas. An easy one and not so easy one. The easy one first is if America or the small and mid-sized companies in America learn to be more courageous, more outgoing, more willing to expand globally, and not try to be so paralyzed by how difficult it is to export their products, like export more to China. Because exporting requires a mindset. Because for decades, many American companies believe that our American market is so great. There's no need to even go to Ohio if you are in Pennsylvania.
Largest
let
market in the
alone
world.
California.
Right.
Why bother to go to Singapore? So I think that if companies in general, not the big boys, not the big corporations, because they know how to do that.
Yeah.
They have muscle, they have, leverage. But small and mid-sized companies, if they can learn how to export more, because I am an example of that. I've been doing this for 34 years, encouraging small companies to export American-made products and services. And I have made our agents in China millionaires in US currency. So it can be done. I'm not saying it's easy, but it can be done. Now this is the easy idea, export more.
Sure.
A harder one, really hard, but it still can be done, is we, Americans, consumers, will have to change our mindset. We shouldn't try to buy the cheapest thing possible. I think that the right advertising company or the right group of people or the lobbying group has to reprogram our minds, our meaning, we are the consumers, that we should be willing to pay more to have products that are of higher quality, they last longer. Maybe we don't buy 10 pairs of shoes or 20 pairs of shoes. Maybe we buy only 3 pairs, but they last longer, they look better, they are of higher quality. And because once you are willing, the word is willing. Once you are willing as a consumer to pay a few dollars more, then many companies, I believe, will be more than willing to hire American workers, pay their wages, and make better stuff.
Yeah. I mean, part of that, too, is that the United States has become, certainly in the last, 30, 40 years, what some people call the throwaway society.
Yeah.
You can buy something cheap, but you're only going to use it for 6 months, and who cares? You just put out the end of your driveway or doorstep.
We want 100 pairs of socks or shoes instead of having 8 pairs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's a mindset change. So I hope the 2 ideas are clear. They may not be easy to execute, but I don't see that they are very difficult to understand.
Sure. Well, thank you, James. Thanks for that perspective.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now I think we can move on to our featured guest.
Yes.
But first, let me just tell the audience, if they want to send a question to Money Matters TV, here is how to do it.
You can have your questions answered on Money Matters. Please go to our website, money-matterstv.com. On our homepage, click on the banner on the right that says, Send us your questions. While you're on our website, you can find information about our host and guests, as well as show notes and links about this show and past shows. Money Matters is also available as a podcast on iTunes and Stitcher, so you can listen to Money Matters while you're on the go. That website address, again, is money, MONEY, -matters, MATTERS, TV.com.
And now I'd like to introduce you to our featured guest of the show, Lorna Velardi. Lorna.
Hi.
Welcome. Lorna has her own company, Environmental Strategy. So she's an entrepreneur, the kind we were talking with James earlier.
Yes.
And we'd like to hear more about how you got into the business. And just remind us, what is Environmental Strategy Consultants? What does that mean?
Well, we're a consulting firm, and I also say that we're an environmental service provider. Okay, so we have been in business for 30 years.
Wow.
We work in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Delaware, various companies and facilities across the region. To give you some backdrop, and a lot of people may not be aware of this, but there's very significant environmental health and safety regulations in the United States that have been in effect since the 70s, and they're very complex, and they've become more complex. So what we do is provide specialized expertise to these companies regarding the environmental requirements, and our service is meant to be cost effective for companies and facilities, and also to help them manage it more cost effectively. There's a significant training curve if they use internal personnel, and some significant opportunities that can be missed without having the skill and expertise that we have.
I recently read about a court case, a big judgment against the company, and it was called, I think, popcorn lung was the issue. And it was about the chemical that is used to add flavoring to popcorn. This goes back some years ago.
Yes.
Apparently is toxic. And this mechanic at this company breathed in this chemical and got a lung disease.
Yes.
So is that a typical environmental type situation that your firm would be monitoring or advising the company on? Or?
You know, we're more involved with ongoing operations, how to manage what you have today. I would say, so it's more about, let's say, all the facilities that we work for have common things. They have chemicals on site, or they use chemicals in some way, they process chemicals, or they have some kind of process that has an air emission or a wastewater emission. A lot of them are manufacturers, and on their sites they have some processes that are going on that we say that are regulated. They have storage that's regulated, and they have to meet the regulations. We also work for institutions such as hospitals and universities. They could be also bulk petroleum distributors as well as chemical distributors. Anyone that's in contact or with chemicals or has processes has all kinds of different obligations. Even importers of chemicals today with TSCA rules have to file and get approvals for certain chemicals that come into the United States and have to perform various reports.
May I ask
Please.
Lorna a question? A tough one.
Okay.
What if there is a company that to you really is an ideal client? You believe that the company
Right.
really can use your help, but yet the company has an in-house system. You know, they believe they can deal with it. They believe that they have staff people who have the expertise to handle whatever the company needs to handle.
Yes.
It would be really very tough to sell to management why you are needed. How do you handle that?
Well, first of all, we don't want to work for companies that don't really need us. I mean,
Okay.
if they're fully
Right.
beefed up and they have it all under
Right.
control, we only want to come into situations where we can be of value to the
Right.
company
Right.
and they can see the value.
Right.
If they have it all buttoned up, then, hey, that's great. But typically, a lot of companies, and in no way being negative because it's very hard to manage this all. They may think that their situation is under control.
Right.
They may have people assigned internally. And I'll talk and address the situation where they probably don't have an internal dedicated, what we call dedicated environmental manager or
Okay.
environmental health and
Okay.
safety manager.
Okay.
But they have people in engineering, some people in production. And what happens one day, and this is the phone call that we get.
Yes.
Okay? They think it's under control, and one day something changes that says, hey, we need help.
Yeah.
And I typically am the one in the company that gets that phone call. And the type of situations that are kind of illuminating are, for instance, an agency came in for an inspection and they're asking questions to the people that they don't know how to answer. And all of a sudden they're getting the impression, well, we might have an enforcement action and this could get out of
Right.
control.
Right.
Or somehow they get in a request from an agency for information and they're reading things like toxic chemicals and they're saying, wait a minute, what happens if we answer this? Is there going to be some repercussion? Or they get a new permit
Sure.
and the permit has permit conditions in it that they didn't have before. If they feel like they're over their head, and I get that phone call and then I field that phone call with them and walk through the process with them and determine if we can truly help them and put together a project scope that really meets their needs.
So what makes you an expert that they would call you? I mean, do you have certain degrees and certifications and niches and specialties and
Yes.
accolades and things like that? Or
Yes.
just what?
Yes and yes. All right. I'm a chemical engineer by background. I have other people who work for the company who are environmental scientists, environmental engineers, who've been in the field for a long time. They have worked, as I have worked, internally inside large corporations, doing environmental compliance for those the internally within the company. And plus, we have years and years of experience. So our staff has years and experience of managing. We only hire people with certain kinds of degrees and certain kinds of training, and then we add additional training to them. So I don't know if I fully answered your question, though.
Well, yeah. Do you have full-time employees? Or do you
Yes,
bring
we
in
have
specialists
full-time
as
employees. We
contractors,
really
or-
believe in using full-time employees. We do at times bring in other people with skill sets, and we identify that for the client if that's needed.
Most of your clients big companies, or are they small and mid-sized companies, or how? There must be some kind of a profile of an ideal
Yes,
client.
our ideal, well, I would say all of our clients are usually, most of them, but not all of them, are facility based, that we're working for a facility. We're maybe working for the corporation, but we're assigned to a specific facility or operation. Okay, like we have a recent client, and so we have clients that are privately owned.
Right.
They could have 50, 100 people on site. They may only have 10, but usually it's more 50, 100, 200 people at their site. That would
Okay.
probably be the
Okay.
size client.
Right.
The profile is that they would have chemicals or processes on site that would
Right.
require air permits, wastewater permits. We presently are working for a major corporation, and some of our facilities are actually owned by major corporations who started a new plant in Pennsylvania and has involved in all the permitting up front for that facility from the very beginning. And we actually have other companies that start new facilities, and they have us before they even start them, they say, what is the environmental issues going to be? How much permitting are we going to have? How do we do it more cost effectively? And that's our mission, cost effectiveness.
Okay.
Yes.
So you've been in business a long time. You've grown. What do you see for the future, your company?
Well, the future looks bright. I think more companies are buying into the model that they should stick to their core competencies and what they know, and then retain outside experts for areas that they don't know so well. If they do have a dedicated EHS person in site, that person has a certain steady workflow, but when other cyclical things happen, then hire on the outside to supplement that person as well as their expertise. There's been some talks of deregulation. We don't see it in particular affecting our particular client base, not the issues that they're hitting on. The regulatory schemes are pretty set, and they're being really very strongly implemented by the various states, industrialized states.
Paul, I like to say something that kind of ties up all this entrepreneurship and
Sure,
Lorna's company and my practice, and obviously in your case too for years, that in a way, problem is somehow our opportunity, a client's problem. Sometimes if a client or a potential client, if they didn't run into an obstacle that they can resolve, an issue that they never predicted, if they were not burned, they really would not want to pick up the phone and call for help. And I'm not saying this to wish bad things to happen, but we can't control when bad things will happen to who.
Right.
And then in a way, we all try very hard to tell the world, oh, we're good, come and hire me. But on the other hand, you really won't know, except that from time to time, problems do happen. And somehow, if you stay there long enough and have built up enough of a track record of what you can do, I suppose that's the reason for longevity, for hers and for mine, for yours.
We've certainly
too.
seen a number of situations with larger companies in this country recently. Major problems, part of it due to being too insular. They're just doing their thing.
Right.
And they're making money, so things must be okay. And then something happens, and wow, then they've got to. Other people are looking at what happened, whether it's regulators and bringing other experts and that type of thing. So I think some outside perspective is a good thing. I mean, having different types of audits done, for example. I mean, we hear about financial audits all the time.
Yes.
But and they can bring in some interesting news, but other specialties too, for that outside perspective. Sort of in the imprimatur of yes, you're doing the right thing, best practices or something like that.
Yes.
May cost a little more, but in terms of preventing disasters from happening, I think it's helpful in a big way.
So what really I'm trying to say is good and bad are really two sides of a coin. They kind of work with each other. It's very yin yang.
Right.
If there's nothing bad, good doesn't show up or it's not appreciated.
So I mean, you're in a big field. What makes your company so special? What makes it stand out? Do you have a certain niche, or how does that work?
Well, I think we're very niched because we're only working for certain types of facilities and industries that we know.
Right.
But I look at our passion, our commitment is to find the situations of how our clients can have the least what we call regulatory burden. So we're very committed to finding exemptions to the rule or alternatives that are less costly. Typical for us is even if we get a phone call and a company asks us to quote on a permit, that they say we want to have an air permit, we want you to quote on it. We'll ask them, why do you need this air permit? Do you really? We're going to question even before we give them the quote, why should they need it? I mean, we're going to suggest an alternative. Now, a lot of people say, why would you do that? You're not going to make as much money. We believe that first of all, our model is based on repeat business. So we're constantly showing value. We believe in trust, integrity, giving companies the best advice. That's a long-term investment on our part to always be giving our clients the best advice.
So,
Sounds reasonable to me, James.
oh yeah.
Do you promise your customers the best advice? or-
No, I do not promise anything. I don't predict. I cannot predict. I just do what I think I need to do.
Yeah.
And I have a client, as I said, who is using me year after year since 1984, nonstop.
Well, Lorna, talking about that type of thing. So, if another chemical engineer recently graduated from a fine university was thinking about environmental and health type of field type of thing, what advice would you give that person
What advice would I give them?
or her?
I would say, that don't go into the environmental field unless you're really committed to it.
Yeah.
I really believe that you really have to be passionate about what you're doing. I would tell them it's a very, very large field. There's many aspects. There's, engineering aspects. There's remediation aspects. Look at it all and see what you feel comfortable in, what makes sense for you.
And how about calling other people that have experience in the field and ask them for their perspectives?
Oh yes,
ins and outs?
definitely. I would say that. And I would say it's a very big field. I mean, we only touch on a small portion
So
and
you-
we have our niche, but
You
it's
probably have
very
a
big.
trade association that probably has
There's
an
trade
educational
associations
thing,
of all
materials.
different types.
Okay.
There's local chapters of trade associations that they can contact. I even believe some of them have college nights that they go and they might even have a session at a college and invite college students. I think one of the organizations in Philadelphia has some kind of green cocktail network issue where they invite the college students to. So I would say, definitely network. I think networking is very important. Do your research. Go on the internet. Google about environmental careers.
yeah.
Find out about it.
Well, it certainly sounds like an industry and field that's not going to go away.
No, I don't think it's going away. No.
So it'd be a good field to get into, and I guess that need certainly helps your business grow.
Yes.
So, Lorna, thank you very much. You're
Thank
a
you.
wonderful guest, very
Thank you
informative.
very much.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank
good
you.
luck.
Yes. Yes.
So our next guest will be Richard Kelly. He's a CPA, and he has the Chadds Ford accounting firm. So just remember that your money matters.